What's up, everybody? Hey, guess what? It's time for us to get back in the kitchen. Tonight, we are going to make shrimp pasta arrabbiata, and it's going to be fired. Somebody touching my spaghetti.
Somebody touch my spaghetti!
Yeah, so tonight, that's what we're going to do. So let's go ahead and get this popping. Let's get into the kitchen. To get this started up, we're gonna start off by making the pasta sauce itself. And some of you might ask, why are you making your own pasta sauce? You can just get it out of a jar, something like that, and you're good. I say hell no to that.
Oh, hell
A lot of the pasta sauces and things like that, they have a little bit of sweetness or whatever to them, and then at the same time, a lot of people worry about what it is that they're eating specifically. This way you know exactly what you're eating, and not just that, but the flavor of it. It tastes so much better than like store-bought pasta sauce that has all the stuff already in it. And the way I'm going to show you how to make it, it's actually going to feel a lot more like you've cooked this all day, even though this should only take us about a good 30 minutes at max to make this entire dish. All right, we're gonna start off with the onion. We got our bad boy right there. All I'm gonna do, take the top off. And then take it down, lay it down flat, right down the middle. There you go. That's that. We're not even probably gonna need the entire onion here. So I'm just gonna set the rest of it off to the side. Now, of course you wanna get the outer layer off. Now, this time, since I do want the slices to actually be, somewhat uniform, what I'm gonna do is slice down at the base here. Give another one just above. And then the last one near the top. And be very careful when you're doing this, all right? And then I'm gonna take a slice down these sections here, based on the size that I actually want it to be. And then just go ahead and honestly, that right there, that could be enough, but you know what? Nah, we're gonna go a little bit more, a little bit farther. There we go, and we are good. Nice and sharp. In fact, I actually sharpened them up earlier. Get that out to the side there. Now, what we're gonna do next is we're gonna go ahead and get everything else prepared so that we don't have to stop and worry about too much of anything. With the Serrano, fair warning, right now, these little bad boys here, these and jalapenos, will destroy you. When you cut one of these, make sure you do not touch your eyes. Try and only use one hand to do so. And what I'm gonna do here is actually take it right down the center. Figuratively, only about half of, nah, screw that. We're going the whole length of 1/2. And that's what we're gonna use. And then I'm gonna take it down the center once again. If you want to take out some of the seeds and things, you can. That'll actually help out on the heat. And then just go ahead and give it a nice little dice here. And when it gets down to that part, you gotta be careful because it's getting so small that you can, throw a finger under there. But anyway, all right, we'll just put that off to the side and then go ahead and get a couple of the garlic cloves ready. The reason why I lay it down like that, just lay it down, slap it, and then it should come right out of its husk. You can of course use the garlic I showed you before in the little tin, but I prefer the whole slices because of the way I'm gonna slice this. All right, I'm not gonna dice it up into itty bitty pieces. They're gonna be slivers. You wanna try and keep it, even when you slap it down, you wanna try and keep it whole. And the reason why I'm doing this is because the flavor actually, I think it's much, much better, and you'll see it more so in the pasta itself when you're actually eating it. And one of the things that a lot of people don't get, the first thing we do is eat with our eyes. I mean, just facts. Give it another one. And I'm trying not to do it too thick and not too thin because garlic can burn really, really quickly. And I want it all to be uniform too. I mean, pretty much in making pasta, you almost want everything to be uniform so that it cooks evenly, same time, especially since one of the big things with making this, you'll find is that I'm gonna be layering everything onto one another in order to make it. Now, I'll go one more and then we're gonna crack another one open, but it won't get diced up, and you'll see why in a bit. And this can sit off to the side right here. And then next up, I'm gonna go ahead and get these tomatoes ready too. These, we're just gonna take the top right off. And they're gonna get diced up as well. Now you're probably thinking, that's not a lot of damn tomatoes for a tomato sauce. Okay, there's a couple ways you can do this. You can actually just go with a greater deal of tomato and not make it very, very saucy. But even when you are doing what I'm showing you right now as far as making this sauce, what you're gonna do is you're still gonna wanna use fresh tomato, even though we're also gonna use a really good plain tomato sauce. And one more thing that's gonna give this whole dish, or actually two more things that's gonna give this dish the effect that you've been cooking it for hours upon hours, even though it's only been cooking for about 30 minutes. You know what, it looks like 2 of them probably is gonna be enough. If I were cooking for more people, I'd actually, make a whole lot more of this, but it's unnecessary right now. Well, even though I know I'm gonna eat more than half of it, because I'm a fat ass and I like to eat. Don't judge me. All right, I think that's actually good on the tomatoes as well. Pretty much, this was your biggest thing to do right here, was dealing with getting everything prepared. Like, the prep time is usually what takes people the longest time when it comes to cooking. We're gonna go ahead and get that last garlic clove ready too, for what it needs to do. Oh, that needs another good slap. It's a flat one. Didn't have no hump. It wasn't thick enough. Now on this slice of garlic, all we're gonna do is we're just gonna cut the tail end off. That's all you need. And it's gonna get left whole, just like that. The next part of this is we're gonna get the bread prepared to make some garlic bread, all right? And this is really, really simple. There's a couple of different ways I actually do this. This one I like, and other people, when I would make this dish, they would absolutely love it this way too. So I've got aluminum foil down here because it's gonna make the little bit of a mess that we're gonna make right now really, really easy to clean up. And for me, I'm just gonna take 4 pieces of bread. And all we're gonna do is take really good olive oil, and we're just gonna drizzle it over the top of each piece, just slightly. Don't need a whole lot, don't wanna drench it, don't wanna overdo it, and then just rub that right on there. Just rub that olive oil all over it. Give it a nice smooth little rub. Oh, my bad, yeah. But yeah, just rub the olive oil on there real quick. Give it a little flip. And then same exact thing. Same little motion. Little drizzle. and then a little rub. Again, another reason why, please make sure to clean your hands when you cook. Now, these can just sit here for a moment. That's gonna cook really, really quick, and I'll show you exactly what we're gonna do with it when the time comes. But for now, it's time to go ahead and switch up and get the sauce started. And I'm telling you right now, this is so easy, it's not even funny. I hope you all are enjoying the video. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And yeah, let's go ahead and get this cracking. We're about to make all the magic happen right now. First things first is you want to go ahead and heat up your saucepan. I'm using this skillet here. It works as a saucepan just the same. Usually I'd use a different one, but again, that's what I'm working with. I like it. So it is what it is. And then we may as well go ahead and grab our olive oil as well. We're over here, got some stuff already going, and all this is water that's boiling, and that's for the pasta. I didn't take the time to make fresh pasta. Should have done that, and I mean, it's not that hard, doesn't take that long either. But the one thing you need to remember about your pasta water, do not use oil in your pasta water. Don't do it. Add salt. And I'm gonna use regular salt versus the sea salt on this. I mean, you can use the sea salt, that would be perfectly fine. I don't know why I didn't, I just, went with the secondary salt. But we've got this skillet here going. Usually you go ahead and use a saucepan, but I like this one. It's what I'm working with right now. Usually something that's a little deep, but like I said, this works. Now that this is all heated up to a pretty decent temperature, I'm gonna go ahead and add a little bit of olive oil to it. We're gonna add the onions first. And what you want the onions to soften up. You want them to, get a little bit what's called translucent, see-through, however you want to call it, and let that sit. You do not want any of this to burn, brown, any of that craziness. And then go ahead and hit the sea salt. As I said before, season your food. Then give it just a little bit of black pepper. And see, it's already coming to that point. Yep. It's already at the point that I want it to be at. And now we're just gonna start adding a couple of other things. First thing we're gonna add to it, the onions, are the little serranos. Be very careful about this, because if you use a whole lot of it or the temperature's too high, it's almost like you're making mace in your kitchen and you will choke yourself out. Like it'll get real in your kitchen, like no doubt. This doesn't take long at all to do. It always, I understand we all run out of time in our days, different stuff like that. Or we're just tired, don't feel like cooking. But if you're going to, try and do this quick and as best as possible. Next thing that's going in here, tomato paste. The tomato paste is gonna help it out in a couple of different ways. It's gonna give it a little bit of thickness. Again, with the thickness, And you also cannot forget the little red chili flakes, peperoncino. Don't need a whole lot of it. Then what you're gonna do is you're gonna take the tomato paste and kind of swirl it around here in the pan along with everything else. And you want the tomato paste to kind of get a slight cooked flavor to it, because that extra little cooked flavor that goes into the tomato paste itself is gonna flavor up the whole entire dish and actually give it, it's gonna actually give it the flavor that it's cooked for a much longer period of time than it actually has. The garlic. You can't let garlic sit for too long. You can't let garlic brown too much because then it becomes bitter. And another thing that a lot of people don't know is if you slice garlic up really, really small, I mean like dice it up really small, it usually adds more heat to your dish as well, as far as like flavorful heat. So now we've got all that in there, and we're just gonna go ahead and give it a little bit of movement. Let the garlic start to become a little bit fragrant. Once you start smelling it, you know you're pretty good there. And then next up, we're adding in the tomatoes. Add the tomatoes in, give everything a little bit of a toss here. And now the tomato paste is trying to bind it all together so it's sticking. Now, this is the other trick right here I was going to show you all. Something that'll help this out and make it taste like it's cooked much longer than it has and give it a strong, like, just nice flavor in the background. It's that good old stuff that everybody has an issue with pronouncing called Worcestershire sauce. You're not going to need too much of it. Just a little bit more. Voila, that's that. Now, considering all the stuff that we've added in here so far, we got a good, decent amount of flavor. But what I do want to do is go ahead and give a little bit more seasoning to it, including garlic, a little onion, a little bit more black pepper, and then hit it with just a little bit more sea salt. Now, I can add all that in there because of this here. Since I'm not going to use this just as the pasta sauce itself, we're actually making pasta sauce the way that a lot of people are used to. The next thing we need to add to it is actual tomato sauce. So you get yourself a really good canned tomato sauce, something that doesn't have anything added to it, no sugar, no extra salt, no nada, and just go ahead and lose it on in there. And then I'm gonna go ahead and add just a little bit of water to this right now. And then give everything a nice little swirl. And the situation is this. You're gonna let this sit and cook for about a good 10 minutes, all right? It's gonna be covered. You're gonna turn the heat down a little bit from wherever you have it at this point in time, which right now, I have it somewhere within the mid-range. But before doing that, because you just added all that sauce, you may wanna taste it just to see where it stands right now, to see if you need any extra flavor added to it, any extra seasoning at all. Now let me go ahead and grab the lid, cover this bad boy up. And I'm gonna turn this down to medium low. And again, like I said, this is gonna sit for about 10 minutes. Now the next thing we're gonna add, but not right now, it's gonna be after the 10-minute wait, it's going to be some shrimp. This is raw shrimp. I don't do the whole pre-cooked shrimp, and since now it's also easy to find peel, deveined, and raw tail off shrimp, I'd advise you to go with it. And the reason why is because cooking shrimp, a lot of people don't really know the timing to it, and if you use the already pre-cooked, it comes out rubbery, different stuff like that. With this, you know, once it hits a certain point of pinkness and everything else, it's done. Plus, it tastes so much better to do fresh raw shrimp like that. But what I'm gonna do is go ahead and season this right now, even though it's not going in there for about another 10 minutes. And the other thing I forgot to actually add to our sauce, which I'm gonna grab, is oregano. So we've got dried oregano that's actually gonna go in there. Dried oregano leaves. So I'm seasoning the shrimp with pretty much the same flavors as the pasta sauce itself already has. So the salt, pepper, garlic, onion powder, and then I'll actually hit those with oregano as well. Just take it, toss it all around, and just let it sit. And when we come back, we're gonna go ahead and drop this in and finish this dish off.
A few moments later.
Now that we're back, what's gonna happen is, it was about 12, 13 minutes or so, but the first thing that's gonna happen, I'm gonna go ahead and drop the pasta right into that boiling pot of water. I don't break the noodles. They'll sit there and start to wilt down. I should have used a much larger pot for this, but it's fine because as we go ahead and move those around, they will break down. And I realized something, that I didn't grab spaghetti noodles. I actually grabbed fettuccine, which is perfectly fine. It's gonna work out just the same. And now we're gonna go ahead and check on our sauce. Oh yeah, give it a nice little stir. And at this very point, we are also going to do a couple of other things. We're gonna give it a little taste. Oh, that's fire. Damn. And then we're gonna add the shrimp in. Just add them in just like that. Let it go ahead and sit. Get them all a little bit covered up underneath the sauce. Cover it back up. And then we're gonna go ahead and drop the bread into the oven. So we're gonna go ahead and take the bread and just drop it right into the oven. You can have the oven on broil. Me personally, I just put it on its highest heat and sit the bread right onto the actual grill plate itself in there. Not on the aluminum foil, because if you do it on top of the aluminum foil, one side's not gonna cook. Now you wanna make sure that your pasta noodles actually get swirled a little bit just so they don't stick. And then, like I said, this is gonna take about a good 8 to 11 minutes. And in that 8 to 11 minutes time, the sauce will have finished and the shrimp will be fully cooked. The pasta should be cooked to the point where it's not overly mushy, but it's known as al dente. It still has a little bit of bite when you go ahead and bite into it. And the bread will definitely have been done, and that'll actually be done prior to the noodles and everything else actually finishing. So when the bread's about done, I'm gonna come back. We're gonna go ahead and finish off the bread, get the last couple of finishers completed here, and then plate this up and we're gonna eat. It's been about 8 minutes, and what we're gonna do first off, turn off the old noodles back there and then get the bread out of the oven. Now that we've got that done, the shrimp are definitely done in there. And what's gonna happen is I'm gonna go ahead and take the pasta noodles right out of the water and go right into the pasta sauce itself. Now, this is why I also told you that you wouldn't need any more salt in the sauce, because of the fact that you're taking a little bit of that water and it's going right into the pasta sauce itself, as well as a little bit of the starch. And what happens is when you let that happen, it's going to go ahead and thicken the sauce up a little bit as it sits for a moment, as well as it's going to salt the rest of, I slightly overdid it, but it barely fits, and when it all starts coming out, it'll be perfectly fine. So we're good. But I do want to go ahead and get this like lightweight coated in there. So I'm gonna have to work a little bit of magic here. I could have actually used half the can of tomato paste or tomato sauce itself, but it's perfectly fine because, again, like I said, as everything starts coming out, it's gonna work out. Now, this can also be made if you're not a seafood eater or not a shrimp fan or have allergies to shellfish, things like that, this can be made with ground beef. Let me say this, just in case someone decides that they're gonna do it that way, do not, and I repeat, do not make the sauce and then drop raw ground beef in it. Go ahead and cook the ground beef first and then go through the process after you get the ground beef out of the pan. Let it sit off to the side in its own little bowl. Or if it's cooked in a separate pan, that's perfectly fine. But you're gonna cook the ground beef first and then make the sauce and put it all together, all right? And the ground beef can actually go in like right at the end. Since it's already cooked, all you're gonna wanna have to happen to it is for it to warm up a little bit. That's all. We're gonna let this sit here, covered up for the moment, so that we can finish off everything else that we were working on. Now with the bread, while it's still hot, what you wanna do is this. If you remember that extra piece of garlic that we just cut the end off of, you're gonna take that nice warm bread, rub that raw garlic all over the toasted piece of bread. You're gonna do that to all of your bread, and that's what your garlic bread's gonna be tonight. And I promise you, it's gonna taste amazing, just like this. Now, the other ways I do it, I do make like a garlic butter, but there's no reason to make a compound butter when you can do this, especially with the olive oil, which, you know, everybody feels olive oil's better as far as health-wise than butter, whatever. I'm a butter fan no matter what. But this right here, I kid you not, it's absolutely perfect. Now, the last few things we've got here, some flat leaf parsley or Italian parsley. We're gonna take that and go ahead and just give that a nice chop. I'm gonna chop it up pretty good here. Then we're gonna take that, throw it right on top of the pasta. And then go ahead and plate this up and get ready to eat. But before we even do that, let's go ahead and get the last thing, or one of the last things done. We got a couple of leaves of basil, and we're gonna go ahead and give them nice, soft little slice. You could even just take it at the very end and tear it and drop it on top of the pasta once you plated it. Now let's go ahead and get this plated and then finish it off, and then we're ready to eat. And there you have it. Some good old shrimp pasta arrabbiata. Let's give it a try. Fire. Absolute 100% fire. I hope you all enjoyed this video. I'm gonna finish smashing on this. I'm the Show Bullet 8. Thanks a million for watching Cooking with Bullet. Next time, hey, you guys get to actually choose what the next dish will be, whether it's gonna be shredded chicken tacos with homemade salsa or pizza from scratch. Please remember to go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know in the comments what you guys want. Ring the bell, get notifications, all that good stuff. But hey, for now, I'm the Show Bullet 8. It's time to eat.